Chapter 11. Anita had never been in a private car before. A taxi, yes, but a car that idled in front of the Hampton house for dogs and cats for hours awaiting Stella's return to the Seville? This felt decadent, like they were movie stars. Stella, however, took it all in stride as they exited the shelter and waited for the driver to open the back door to let them slide in. "Welcome back, Miss DeVille," said the driver, and then looking at Anita, he smiled and added, "And friend." "Thank you for the ride," Anita said, because it felt like the polite thing to do. She settled into her seat and looked out the window at the shelter again. It gave her great pleasure to see Roger watching them from the pavement as the car pulled away from the curb and began driving down the cobblestone street. "Back to the Seville, Miss DeVille? Or did you want to continue on to Darien Tom's this afternoon like you originally planned?" the driver asked. Anita felt her stomach knot at the idea of shopping. She imagined Stella loading up bags of dresses from Darien Tom's, which was expensive, and her buying nothing. She only had enough change on her for a bus fare. "No, Douglas, I've changed my mind. We're heading back to the hotel. I feel ghastly after spending all morning working in a pen." Stella sniffed her top. "I can almost smell those puppies on me. Can't you?" she asked Anita. "I don't smell anything," Anita said, at which Stella laughed. "Oh, Anita, you're a hoot," she said, shaking her head. "I want to get washed up and get ready for dinner with Dad and find you something suitable to wear. You can't wear that." Anita felt herself flush. "Of course not," she said, wanting Stella to know she knew how poorly she was dressed, even if she hated feeling this way. Stella patted her hand. "Not to worry. I've got lots of ideas on what we can dress you in. Wait till you see my wardrobe. I have two." "Two wardrobes?" Anita couldn't imagine. "Your parents were all right with you coming over, weren't they? They kept you on the phone so long," Stella noted. "I think they were just surprised that you'd invite me to dinner." Stella frowned. They're used to Lizzie being the one invited to parties and events. Everyone loves Lizzie. "Really?" Stella looked thoughtful. "She seems a bit much." "She can be. Lizzie can be a bit insecure," Anita said, not trying to be unkind. "She likes the attention, and my mom and dad like to bolster her confidence."
Would you like your purple heart? Is that okay?
"Sure. They like that she's so outgoing. I guess she reminds Mom of herself." "Thank you, sweetie." Stella turned and looked at her. "And what does your mom think of you?" "I don't need the big shows of attention and affection she does. I'm just as happy sitting quietly next to my dad while we both work on a puzzle. Lizzie constantly needs to be told she's talented and beautiful and..." Anita sighed. "Frankly, it seems exhausting. I try to make myself smaller to not get in their way." She looked out the window, thinking about her grades and the fact she never told her parents about being at the top of the leaderboard anyone's way, and really. "That's nonsense," Stella snapped, and Anita did a double take. "You're only small if you make yourself small." Her eyes sharpened. "And you should never make yourself smaller for anyone. Act important, and you'll be important. It's that simple. You have the highest marks in the school. Clearly, they should be impressed with that." Anita tried not to be surprised that Stella had paid attention to the board. "I haven't told them about my grades yet. I'm waiting." "For what?" Stella asked, annoyed. It sounded silly now that she was saying it out loud. "My standing won't be official till the end of the year. I was going to wait till then to tell my parents in case..." She hated to think of the alternative. "I don't come out on top." "Of course you're going to win. You can't let Cornelius..." Stella said with a glimmer in her eye. "That should be motivation enough to make it happen. What I wouldn't give to beat that boy myself." She played with her jade ring. Not that I ever could, but I do have to get my marks up. Father says I must have a solid B to stay in good standing at Highbrook. I think you need a C, Anita told her, which you already have. Anything including a C above is passing at Highbrook. Plus, you just transferred. It takes time to get your grades up, she said gently. My father will be happy with nothing less than a B. So a B is what I must get. She looked at Anita. And you're going to help me get there. We could study together. You could come to the hotel after school. Anita opened her mouth to protest. You're the smartest girl I know. I can think of no one better to help me improve my grades. Marks. Anita wasn't sure what to say, but the thought of the most fabulous girl in the world wanting her help made her feel special in a way she hadn't since she'd left Hempstead. Was this the friend she'd been looking for? I'd be happy to study with you. Stella smiled, satisfied. Good. It's settled then. Monday we begin our studies. She turned and looked out the car window, so Anita did the same, trying to contain her excitement. She and Stella were truly friends. She was on her way to have dinner at the Seville with Richard DeVille. Mum was thrilled she was making connections. She was itching to draw in her notebook to release her pent-up nerves, but she also wanted to enjoy the ride. She watched London pass them by till they reached Piccadilly, where the buildings were flashier, the signs larger, and the crowds huge. The Seville was on the edge of the Green Park, just a few streets down. The car pulled right up to the front to let them both out. Douglas rushing to open the door for them. Stella strode ahead without even a goodbye. Thank you for the ride, Douglas, Anita told him. The man smiled and tipped his hat. You're welcome, miss. Enjoy your stay at the Seville. I'm not exactly staying, but I will enjoy my time, she thought as she followed Stella through the revolving door and stopped short in amazement. Seeing the grand lobby, the entrance was circular, with red oriental carpeting covering the floors and a 4-story opening above her with circular landings and crystal lighting. The check-in desk was arched to match the room and held the largest floral arrangement Anita had ever seen. To her right was a step up to an opening to the dining room, where a pianist was playing for a handful of guests. And to her left was a long hall that looked like one big living room with lush couches, potted plants, and ornate sitting room furniture being enjoyed by others. A bellhop came running up to Stella as Anita hurried to catch up. Good afternoon, Miss DeVille. Any bags today that I need to bring up for you? No. Next, a uniformed worker appeared. Would you like afternoon tea sent up to your quarters, Miss DeVille? Stella stopped and thought for a moment. Yes, tea would be nice. Have it sent promptly. We have much work to do. Absolutely, Miss DeVille, she said, pressing the up button on the lift before heading off. I'll have tonight's dinner menu sent up to your room as well. Will you and your father be dining in your room? Yes, Stella said, not looking at the woman. We'll be three this evening, maybe 4 if my father invites Bennett. We were trying to reach Bennett, actually, the woman said, pulling at the scarf around her neck, which was part of the hotel's uniform as far as Anita could tell. She liked the touch. We were hoping to speak with him about your bill. This month's charges haven't been paid yet. Your father said Bennett would handle it. Stella looked at the woman with disdain. Then I suggest you take this up with Bennett. Of course, Miss DeVille. My apologies. She started to back away. If you could just let him know we're looking for him, that would be helpful. Helen! A man appeared behind her wearing a smart suit with a handkerchief that matched the woman's scarf. Do not bother Miss DeVille with this matter. I'm sorry, Miss DeVille, he said, giving the woman a look. She's new. We'll take care of this. I would hope so, Stella said, stepping into the first lift as it appeared. My father pays good money for us to live here. Anita followed her into the lift. It had gold doors, ornate markings, and mirrored panels. Who knew lifts could be that fancy? Stella pressed the button for the top floor. The doors closed, and the lift began to rise. She practically growled when they were alone. Wait till I tell my father that woman, Helen was it, had the nerve to ask me about a bill. He won't be happy. That was forward of her, Anita agreed. Although, to be fair, she'd never seen her parents leave anywhere without a bill already paid. Maybe because Stella was a permanent resident of the hotel, it worked differently? How long have you been living here? A few months, Stella said. It's fine, but I miss the country. We're cramped in 2 suites. My father is looking for more spacious quarters. A house, perhaps. But so many things are under construction in the city, so we have to wait a bit. I'm starting to feel claustrophobic here. The lift doors opened, revealing a large landing that reminded Anita of the lobby. Off the landing were doors to 2 clearly marked suites. Stella strode to the right door and got out a gold key. I always enter through the Green Park suite, but you could go through Hyde Park as well. Each one leads to a different sitting room. I prefer mine. Better lighting. She turned the key and Anita gaped. This was not her idea of cramped. Anita suspected she could fit her whole home inside the living room alone. The ornate crown molding, lustrous chandeliers, and fine furniture reminded Anita of a museum. Tea and biscuits were already sitting on a gold accent table, waiting. How did the hotel staff get that up to the room before them? Stella didn't even bother to stop and take a biscuit, even though they looked buttery and delicious. She just kept moving, passing a dining room with seating for 8, and then another smaller sitting room, followed by 3 bedrooms. The suites connect. We needed space to put some of our personal items till we move, Stella explained. 2 bedrooms are filled with furnishings. We'll skip those. Stella was so matter-of-fact about everything, Anita didn't feel like she was bragging, but it also made her slightly uncomfortable. What would Stella think if she could see the room she shared with Lizzie? There was barely enough space to walk between their twin beds. Stella's hotel bedroom was large, with a canopy bed, a sitting area with 2 winged-back chairs, a balcony beyond the seating, and a fireplace. Stella headed to a wardrobe as Anita continued to ogle. My summer clothes are in one of the other bedrooms, but this is where I keep all my favorite articles of clothing, Stella told her. Now this is not even a quarter the size of my original wardrobe at our house, but Dad promises the one at Hell Hall will be at least a room, maybe 2 if I need it. Hell Hall? Anita repeated. Sounded frightening. Stella waved her hand in the air. Term of endearment for our future weekend home. It's a long story. She opened the wardrobe doors. Anita had to work the muscles in her jaw to keep from gaping. This was not a wardrobe. It was a room full of clothes, as large as her bedroom. The room had racks of clothing on both sides and a tufted ottoman in the middle of the floor that was strewn with additional outfits. Anita stepped over a discarded glittery dress and looked around. There were gowns hanging from every available hanger on moving fixtures that she suspected might actually be bellhop carts, and a makeshift cabinet overflowing with boxes of shoes and expensive handbags. Every item seemed quintessential Stella. Loud, vibrant clothing that was meant to stand out, with bold colors, red, purples, and electric blues and electric patterns. She thumbed the label on one of the dresses. House of DeVille, it said in distinctive scroll. Anita looked through the racks some more and found other labels too, like Chanel and Givenchy, which was a newer brand of Paris. Some of the clothes didn't have labels at all. Instead, little pieces of paper were pinned to the inside of the clothes with small notes like possible fall 1954. Every item reminded Anita of kosher she saw in magazines. Dresses she couldn't imagine anyone wearing in real life, while she could picture Stella pulling off each and every look in the room. She feared she'd look ridiculous in almost everything. Oversized black and white polka dot dress with a feathered collar? Nope. Red dress that had splashes of opposing colors on it, looking like a canvas that had paint flung on it? Probably not. Not that she'd complain about borrowing Stella's clothes. She couldn't go to dinner with what she had on, but she hoped she'd find something she would feel comfortable in. Since we're eating in our suite, you won't need something terribly high-end, but I always try to look nice for dinner regardless of where it is, she said, holding up a purple floor-length gown with sequins. These are all yours? Anita asked, amazed. Yes, I used to have more, but Dad said to par down when we came to London, and he has me try out all the designs for his fashion line before he chooses what he's going to make anyway. So that's fun. She took a bright pink dress with polka dots off the rack and admired it for a moment before shoving it back into the pack. Stella brushed the clothing on the ottoman aside and patted it. Here, get up on this so I can see you from all angles and decide what will look good on you. Feathers, perhaps. No feathers, Anita thought. She quickly eyed the clothes around her and spotted an item that was a solid color. She reached for a black dress, knee-length, with a flutter skirt and a fitted bodice that had no sleeves. She could picture it being paired with pearls. She'd eyed a dress as elegant as this one countless times when Mum took her shopping, but she never had an occasion to wear it. Till now. What about that one? She asked Stella hopefully. Stella tapped her chin and looked at the dress on the hanger. I've never worn that before. Oh, Anita's cheeks flushed. Never mind. Stella picked up the hanger and stared at it for a moment from all angles. This is one of my dad's favorite designs he's considering. And while it would look terrible on me, I love it for you. It's elegant, regal. The frame doesn't work for me as I have no hips. You have hips. I don't mean that in a bad way, of course. They work for this type of gown. It shows off your shape. And with the right heels, maybe in a contrasting color, this could look quite nice. Her smile was sincere as she held out the dress for Anita to take. You've got a good eye. Thank you, Anita said, blushing harder. No one had ever complimented her on her fashion sense before. The powder room is right through that door, Stella said, turning to the shoes and looking at them next. What size are you in heels? An 8, Anita said, heading into an equally large powder room with gold leaf mirrors. She shut the doors so she could change, and she could still hear Stella on the other side. I'm a 9, so you might have to swim in these, but not to worry. We'll be sitting most of the time, and with some thick tights your feet won't slip too much. Stella yelled from the other room. Anita stepped into the gown and attempted to zip the back as far as she could. The dress was maybe an inch or two longer than it should be. Stella was taller than her, but she was right. Having hips made this dress work. It fit her perfectly. She stepped out, feeling shy as she stood in front of Stella for inspection. Stella's eyes widened. Yes, this is for you, she purred. Up on the ottoman. Let's get a good look and think accessories. She held out her hand and Anita hesitated for a moment, hating the thought of being on display, but then thinking of the beautiful dress and how good she felt in it. She stepped up onto the platform. Stella walked around her, tapping her finger on her chin, muttering to herself. Yes, pearls, and maybe earrings. No pearl earrings, though. That would be too much. A pop of pink to go with the heels? She picked up the shoes and held them up to Anita's waist. I think I have earrings this color, and if you wear your hair back... Yes, this will work nicely, she sighed. Anita, stop fidgeting. I'm not fidgeting, she said, although she was. She felt like she was being dissected like a bug in science class. You are, standing up straight like you deserve to be here, like you belong. Stella's eyes flashed. Let's see some confidence. You already have poise. Shoulders back, head held high. That's better. Act like this, and you'll be respected. Don't you want to be respected? Well, yes, Anita realized. She was tired of feeling like she was being taken for granted. Then stand up straight. Say, I am important. I belong here. I am a force to be reckoned with. Stella, I can't. Anita laughed at the ludicrousness of such a request. But Stella was serious. You can. I repeat this to myself every morning in the mirror. You can do it. You can do it. Do it. She went to the radio in the room and turned it on. Music filled the air. Relax and say it. Do, Anita. Stella was not someone used to being denied. Anita sighed. Fine. I am important. I belong here. I am a force. She burst out laughing and Stella gave her a look. Sorry, I am a force to be reckoned with. Again. I am important. I belong here. I am a force to be reckoned with. Again, Stella thundered. By the fourth go-round, Anita had to admit she could feel it. She was important. She deserved to be in the Seville at this dinner. She could hold a conversation with the head of a fashion house, she hoped. Stella was impressed at least. You should dress like this every day. This is your look. Understated elegance. The opposite of my look. But everyone has their own. This is yours. Anita blushed. Thank you. The dress did feel good. She felt more confident wearing it. At least she would for the next few hours. So why don't you dress like this every day? Stella was blunt. Anita was taken aback at first, but she knew Stella wasn't trying to be cruel. She swallowed hard before answering. We don't have the money to buy a great deal of clothes, so I make do with what I have, usually letting my sister get the new dresses, since she's the one going to parties and auditioning for shows. I try to give my clothes a flourish or two, but sometimes it's challenging. Stella was quiet for a moment. Well, we'll have to do something about that. You are not leftovers. Her words hung in the air as she headed out of the room. Now go wash up. My father will be here for supper before we know it.